first session for today is Slashing Enterprise Cloud Bills with Frugal Approach. It will be taken by Varsha Verma. Varsha is a senior cloud engineer at Accenture with a rich background of over 6 years in the industry. Varsha personally takes charge of steering global cloud. Currently, Varsha is hands-on managing end-to-end responsibilities while prioritizing best practices. She has also conducted online and offline sessions for IT enthusiasts and working professionals. Varsha was a speaker of AWS Community event, Delhi, Pune, Ahmedabad, Women in Tech India, All Day DevOps, Lunch and Learn, Engineering Hub. Varsha is also the LinkedIn top voice for cloud computing and DevOps. She is also a technical content writer at Hashnode. Please join me in welcoming Varsha to the stage.
Hello everyone, good morning. At our Cost Explorer, Trusted Advisor, Budgets, Reserved Instances, Spot Instances, Auto Scaling, Anomaly Detection, Cost Allocation Tag, Serverless Architecture. So this is one of the cue cards that Jen Looper, anyone knows Jen? So yeah, in the last community event I met her and she handed over this cute cue card to me and I just loved it, so I just kept it here. It's for frugality. Anyone knows what frugal means or frugality? Anyone? Like how with whatever we have, how we want to utilize only till then. Like we don't want to over splurge on anything, so that's why I just love this cue card. Weber holding little piggy bank. Okay, so cost optimization or cost saving is not only about shutting off the EC2 instance or only utilizing serverless like Lambda, right? It is a proper planning that we have to do. So first one, we will evaluate like what are the things running on over our infrastructure. We'll make a budget out of it. We'll calculate the price, like if an instance is having how much memory, how much disk, how much CPU. So we'll plan accordingly. Then we'll run. Here we'll manage and control. Like if a EC2 server is running, if it is not required 24/7, then why we have to keep it on, right? We can utilize Lambda services to put a normal use case for EC2 stop and start activity. Then we have C, where we'll track and allocate. So here we'll be seeing the dashboards that will be there within AWS, like AWS Cost Explorer, where we'll see like what are our utilization of the resources. It will show us the trend. Then we have to save. That means we have to optimize. So in this, we have multiple plans that will come, like the reserved instances, where if a company is utilizing any of the EC2 instance for a longer duration, they will provide commitment, right? So with that, they will get huge discounts. So that will come under optimize and save. So firstly, we'll be covering AWS Cost Explorer. This is the service that will provide us the dashboard, like what our EC2 instance, what the other resources, apart from EC2 instance like S3 bucket, we have multiple other service which is showing over here, like S3, VPC. So it will give us the allocation depending upon different categories, right? And here we can also see that it will give the details from like multiple months. It will show, it has the granularity where you can filter out depend upon monthly, weekly or yearly. Then don't worry, I haven't spent this much. This is just a dummy graph that I have. So you can also filter depending upon what service actually you want to see the graph of. This also help us in the forecasting, like what will be my next spending will be depending upon the old one. Then you can also segregate depending upon multiple services, multiple region, instance type, etc. The good thing about this dashboard is you can save it. Maybe later you want to use same kind of filter, right? So here we have the good, what I could say, the best thing about this is we can save up and later we can help us in seeing these dashboards. So few things about AWS Cost Explorer is it helps us in visualizing in the terms of graph. So it will be easier for us to understand where my spending is and what are the utilization. Then obviously I told about the filters and groups. There you can filter depending upon what would be the resources type, for the month granularity that you can do. Then we have cost and usage forecasting. Depending upon the historical data, we can forecast what my future spending will be. We can save up the reports. There will be hourly granularity. There will be monthly granularity. We have resource level granularity as well, and we can download the utilization graph. Then AWS Trusted Advisor. By name itself, we could understand trust means we are trusting what AWS report is giving to us. Like what will be my spending, how I can optimize. So there are certain sections into AWS Trusted Advisor that are cost optimization, service limits, performance, security, fault tolerant, and operational excellence. I know these terms will be little vague, so I just wanted to show you this dashboard where Trusted Advisor has multiple sections. So if you click on any of the section, you will get to know what and all the things you can optimize. It will give you basic level of understanding. Let's say suppose any of your EC2 instance is running at m4.x large, right? And the resources inside is not getting properly utilized. That means only 10% CPU is getting utilized for the whole month. So why we need to keep it at m4.x large? We can always like instance down, right? We can downsize the instance. So those are all the things that our Trusted Advisor help us to understand. Then we have performance. Performance again, if it is not utilizing the memory what is allocated to the EC2 instance, it will show us that these are all the instances, these are all the auto scaling groups that are not being properly utilized. Security, if any of the server is linked with any of the security groups and that is not properly safeguard, let's say all 0.0.0/0 is open. So that is not an ideal practice, right? We have to always safeguard our instances, our resources. Then we have fault tolerant. In any of the EC2 instance become unhealthy in an auto scaling group or any fault is there. So that will help us showcase. It will give us, if it is an EC2 instance, it will give us the instance ID. So if we can directly click on there, it will take us to that console. So if you're seeing this, you will get to see some are marked with red, some are marked with orange, and some are marked with green. So think of it as a traffic signal, right? So if it is red, you need to stop and analyze what's going on into your infrastructure. If it is orange, then you can take your time, you can analyze if it is required or not, then you can do the changes, what is suggested by AWS Trusted Advisor. Then we have green, that means all okay, everything is running perfectly fine. So everyone is like telling you if they are new to cloud, if they are already on the cloud, if they are cloud veterans, like move to cloud. Whatever you are doing, if you are using on-premise, move to cloud, move to cloud, move to cloud. Why? Because you are utilizing your on-premise servers. So if you are using cloud, then you don't need to manage the servers. It will reduce cost. You will have unlimited resources. You don't need to have a room full of servers. But what they actually don't tell you is surprise bill of like whopping huge amount. Any of one of you experience this while you are using AWS and you get a bill? So in that case, we have to always analyze what we are spending. We have free tier. In that, we'll get few amount of hours that we can run our EC2 instance and certain other quotas, right? So that's the meme is about. So in that case, we have to plan our expenditure properly. So that will come under AWS budget. So before taking any vacation, before any holiday comes, we go for a shopping, we always try to make a budget, right? If I'm going to, let's say for me, if I'm traveling to Kochi, okay, event is on 14th, but let's go 2 days before and explore Kochi. So I make a budget out of it. So I have to cover my flight expenses, my hotel, my food, my bill, etc. So that will come under budget. So I just make a budget, okay, 10,000 I'll be spending over here, 20,000 I'll be spending over here. So same thing AWS, in AWS also we can do. So it will allow us to customize our budget. My budget will be different, other person's budget will be completely entirely different from mine. So same thing here, we can customize the budget depending upon what kind of use cases we are running, if it is a simple one or if it is a complex one. Then instead of relying on the other AWS dashboards, utilization curves or reports, we can directly create a budget and we can create an alarm. So that might be when the threshold will be 80%, we can get an alarm that, okay, I'll be reaching the quota. You remember the day when we used to use Geo and it give us messages like your 2 GB quota will be over. You have utilized your 50% of your quota, 90% of your quota. So similar way you will be getting alarms for this. Okay, so this is just to understand how AWS budget will work. So first we'll be creating a budget. In case the budget hits, it will create an alarm. And then we have to respond with the action. Like if the EC2 running hours is going beyond what we have been budgeted for, then we have to take necessary action. A similar use case will be EC2 stop and start activity using AWS Lambda. Then we have certain types of budget. So as I told, the budget is not one. It can be customized depending upon what you need for your infrastructure, for your project, for your customer. So it can depend upon cost. Like you only want to make a budget depending upon cost. I'll be willingly to spend 1 lakh for this thing. So that will be depending on cost. Then usage. Let's say I want to use depending upon certain limit, data limit, as we took example of Geo. So data limit, that will be an usage. So how you are utilizing it. So you can create budget accordingly. Then RI utilization budget, that will be reserved instance. So you have reserved the instances for being used for, let's say, more than 3 years. So you can create budget accordingly. Then we have RI coverage budget. Again, it's a type of reserved instance where you can create the budget depending upon how your instance want to be covered. Then we have savings plan utilization and savings plan budget. This will be like a more discounted one, and it will be depending upon like how you want to save in terms of your instances that you have reserved. Anyone here uses Snapchat? Anyone? Snapchat? Raise your hand properly. Okay, so what Snapchat is all about? Streaks, maintain streaks. Like one day your friend doesn't send you any picture, so streak got broke, right? Then you're like, since 90 days we are sending and you broke the streak. So what it is about, it's a trust that you are sending image to your friend and your friend is also sending image to you, right? So that is the reserved instances in terms of AWS. So you are telling AWS that for 3 years, trust us, we'll be utilizing this particular instance, and on top of it, you have to give us some discount. So instead, the on-demand servers that will be running depending upon when you want to spin up the server and when you want to terminate. Reserved instance will be for a particular duration, depending on 1 year, 3 year, 4 year, 6 year. The more the tenure, the more discounts you will get. So it will be like a whopping 75% discount than the on-demand one. So that's where if you have like a load which you are committed to AWS that you will be giving for 3 years, in that case you can utilize AWS reserved instances. If you have the flexibility to change the family. So again, in reserved instances, there are multiple sections which we're gonna talk about in later slide. So there is one convertible type. Okay, here in convertible type, you can change the instance type. So normal reserved instance, whatever you said, let's say R4.x large, you have to utilize that only. You cannot change it depending upon your demand. If your CPU utilization hits 100%, memory hits 100%, your server will be hanged. You cannot able to track the traffic. You cannot able to serve the traffic in that case. So in that way, the convertible RIs will be helpful, where if the demand increases, we can change the instance type, we can change the OS type accordingly. Then AWS billing automatically applies to the RI discount, so you don't need to apply any coupon. Like we apply for any sale is ongoing, you can use the coupon and you get the discounts, right? You don't need to apply it over AWS, it does it for you. So these are the 3 types which I was talking about: standard, reserved instance, convertible, and scheduled. In standard one, it will be like whatever instance type you want to use from the start, you have to use it till the end. There is no change of OS, there is no change of instance type. In convertible instance type, you get a little bit flexibility where depending upon in case the use case got a little bit modified, you can change the instance type. You can modify it upwards, downwards as you wish, and you can change the operating system as well. Then we have scheduled reserved instance. So schedule, that means for a particular schedule of time only you want your instance to be up and running. So standard one will have huge discounts. Convertible, it gives you flexibility, so it will have a little bit lesser discount as compared to standard, and schedule will have a little more less as compared to the convertible instance type. So this discount I'm saying is in terms of normal on-demand instance. On-demand itself is like whenever you are clicking on create an instance, that will be your on-demand instance. So this is just a comparison of how much you will be saving up and what is the geographical type of all of the reserved instance type, convertible and standard plan. Okay, AWS Spot instance. Anyone knows what AWS Spot instance is? Just a simple one-liner. I know you all know, but I just wanted to make sure you are not sleeping. Come on, Spot instance. Anyone can say, it's fine. You want to say? Someone will ask question, people like, I'm not sleeping. You are sleeping. Anyone? True, that will be a use case, right? Thank you. That was I was looking for. Thank you so much. Anyone does invest in stock market? Come on. You guys are working. You must. I'm not an agent, okay? Anyone invest? So mutual funds are like you can, if you want to buy any stock for 3,000, you can do. But in stock market, if you do trading on the spot, so you can give a particular amount, right? If it comes, suppose an XYZ stock, I'm not giving any stock recommendation, but any XYZ stock is currently running at 100 rupees. And you want to buy it at 99 rupees. So you place a bid. You place a bid, and if it gets hit that particular point, you will get the stock. Similar way is the spot instance. You have to do the bidding, and accordingly, when your bid hits, you will get the instance for that particular time. Obviously, it is not needed when you have like a proper load your server wants to cater. In case if it is not needed, if it is redundancy, that means you have multiple servers to serve your traffic. In that case, spot instance can be utilized. But before going, let's say the price again increased, okay, so you will be not getting that spot instance for that particular time. So what it gives you a warning 2 minutes before. It gives you warning that after 2 minutes the server will get terminate. So obviously we don't have any such traffic which needs to be run 24/7 on those spot instance, right? It is just the redundant one that we are utilizing it for. So spot instance will be helpful in that cases, and as compared to again standard one, it gives you much more discount because you are not running it for 24/7. So it is a short or small short-term scaling service that will help us to reduce cost as compared to the on-demand EC2 instance. Spot instance will be mostly reclaimed and it give us warning before 2 minutes, as we already discussed. It is ideally used for fault tolerant or stateless application like Lambdas. Amazon EC2 spot instance allow us to access the EC2 capacity up to 90% of the off-demand price. So if we are getting on-demand instance for say 100 rupees, we'll be getting spot instance for 10 rupees. So it will be giving us like huge 90% discount. So only useful for fault tolerant, don't use for your proper client data where it will be needing 24/7. So this is again just a comparison of on-demand server, reserved instance or saving plan type, and EC2 spot instance. So whenever you want the server to be up and running, you run it, that's on demand. It can be helpful for a spiky workload or when you have the defined needs. Then we have reserved instance. We are giving commitment to the AWS that we'll be gonna utilize this server for this particular duration, depending upon how you need it. So accordingly, you will be getting discounted. Then we have spot instance. It will be useful for fault tolerant workloads, and it will give you a warning 2 minutes before when it will be gone. So again, huge discount compared to the on-demand network. Sorry, on-demand EC2 type. Then we have auto scaling. Anyone auto scaling? I kept it pretty much basic because I get to know that there will be mixed audience. So for some, this could be very basic, but for the others who are new to AWS, this would be helpful. Auto scaling, anyone? There don't be any wrong answers, it's okay. You can speak up. True. So huge, like this is December, like a lot of things are coming, Christmas, New Year. So there will be a lot of sales going on, right? And no site wants their servers to be crashed. I'm just giving an example. There can be other use cases as well. So just to compare and make you understand. So during the time of sale, just before sale, 1 day before sale, there will be steady traffic that XYZ platform is having. Let's say they are, for every day they are having 1 lakh of users coming to their page and buying stuffs. On the day of sale is let's say for a day. So instead of 1 lakh customers, there could be 1 crore customers who will be actively coming to their page and buying the products. And no company wants their page to be crashed during those big billion or Black Friday sales, right? Because that will be huge loss for them. So in that case, what they want is if the demand increases, the servers or what they have specified, be it on demand, be it spot instance, be it reserved instances, the server should be able to serve the traffic. It shouldn't go down. So in that case, auto scaling comes into picture, and you can define in case the number of users will increase. In case number of CPU, the CPU hits 80% utilization, you want 5 more servers to be up and running in no time and serving the traffic. So that's the beautification of AWS auto scaling. So it scales within no time. You have to define how many servers you want to be up and running. Let's say on a normal day, I want only 5 servers to be up and running. If load increases, I want it to increase it to 20. So if traffic will come, it will increase to 20. If there are very less number of traffic, it will again scale down to whatever the minimum number of servers I have defined it to. So that's the picture. It is showing the minimum size, desired capacity, and maximum size. So it can scale in and out between the maximum and minimum capacity, and the desired capacity will be always up and running. Then we have AWS cost anomaly. Anomaly are the abnormalities that we have in our AWS. So it's not ideal, right? Whatever we have provision, it will be running properly, prim and proper every time, 24/7, 365 days. There could be certain attacks, there could be certain abnormalities that could come in picture. So this particular service, AWS cost anomaly, help us in detecting what could be the fault is. So in this chart, you could see we can create a cost monitor. We can identify what the abnormality is all about. It will generate an alert. You can choose this alert in the form of you want to be a notification, you want it to be an email. You will get warned about it if any of the abnormalities will get detected. And accordingly, you have to take action. You have to analyze the root cause and you have to work accordingly through. So it could be like any of your server is having all the open traffic 0.0.0/0, and certain number of users, let's say 10 are expected, 100 or thousands of users are hitting your site. So that is not expected, that is very unusual. So in that case, we can create a cost monitor, and if it is hitting a certain beyond limit, you will be getting alerted for the same. And you can take action. So it's not ideal to like widely open your security groups. Depending upon what could be the CIDR range, subnet range, you have to make an entry over the security group, and you can bound your EC2 instance for that. So this is again a step-to-step process that we have. So let's say 0 is the step 0, where it will detect some anomalies. Then you will be getting notified in step 1, be it any medium, be it an email, a notification, SNS topic, message, etc. Then you have to analyze what the abnormality is all about. It could be a severe one, it could be a simple one, right? Then we have to find the resolution, and then we have to retrospect that what in the future we can do, which will help us in not getting these kind of anomalies. Anyone knows this guy? If anyone knows Hindi, surely they would. Meme lover, anyone? No? Okay. So this is a cute guy. School teacher is asking him any question, and he is randomly telling stuff. So by seeing this picture, you won't be able to understand, right, what it is about. But if anyone knows Hindi, so teacher asks him, let's say, what is apple, and he says, "मैंने खट्टी टॉफी खाई है." So by seeing this tag, you will be able to, some of you might be able to understand, who knows Hindi, that this meme is all about this thing. So that's the use of tag that we can help in AWS. So we have cost allocation tag. So we don't know what server is used for what, and what are the costs being allocated with that particular, let's say SQL, EC2 instance, or any of the Lambda, anything. Cost allocation tag is very important to get to know, like because your client is paying bill for that same thing, and you have to generate a report at the end of the day. So you can, depending upon number of different costs, you can generate the report, and you can show them, okay, this is all about this particular resources, this utilization hit on this particular day of time. So that's why cost allocation tags are important. In AWS, we have two types of cost allocation tag. One is the generated by AWS itself, that you don't need to bother. Whenever you create any resources, it will automatically comes up and get tagged with it. Another one will be the user-defined tags. So when we create, let's take a simple example. When you create any EC2 instance, there will be certain tags which will come along, like the instance type, instance IDs. All those tags will come automatically. So those will be the AWS generated tags. And let's say we want to make it a situation where we want to segregate if it is a prod server, if it is a test server, or if it is a QA server, so that we are defining the environment of those servers. So that will be user defined tags. Here I have taken example of a key value pair that some of it are getting generated by AWS and some are generated by the user. So why we generate tags? To help us understand what is going on into the environment and what the server or what the resource is all about. So there it will be helpful in getting more understanding. Okay, serverless. Today everyone is talking about serverless. And like basic idea, when we think of serverless, the like first impression will be like there will be no servers. But it's not like that. Servers will be there. It's just you don't have to manage it, and AWS does it for you. So I'm a meme lover, so that's why there will be there are few memes here. So AWS has multiple serverless architecture, not only Lambda, but we have Amazon Event Bridge, SQS, Step Function, RDS, DynamoDB, S3, CloudFront, and API Gateway. So these are the multiple serverless services that we have in AWS. I'll just take 2 more minutes of this. So what will be the strategies in defining the serverless architecture? You can't, whenever you're defining any serverless resource, you cannot give it to the maximum ones, because whenever it will be hitting the API, you will be getting cost for it. And it's not like that only once in a day it will hit the API. Whenever, whatever code you have written, whatever logic you have written, it will hit, it will be getting hit over the API. So you will be getting cost per hit. So in that way, you have to be mindful enough to define the functions or resources. So first one will be right size your function. Just analyze your use case, what will be required. Accordingly, you have to right size the function. Be it any of the function that are defined over here. It will applicable for every of the serverless resources. Then we have minimize external calls. So you are defining serverless for the API calls that will be happening inside the infrastructure. You don't have to be utilizing it for the much of the external calls, right? Because accordingly it will be getting hit and you will be getting cost for it. Then we have minimize unnecessary invocation. If you are testing anything, do it in the test phase. Don't make any unnecessary invocation, because that will again add up to the cost. Then we have optimize initialization overhead. You have to define mindfully what you want to initialize for that particular serverless application, resources, functions. You have to monitor and tune memory usage. So obviously, whenever you are creating any resource, you have to be mindful enough to have a look at maybe a weekly fashion, monthly fashion, to get to understand the trends, what it is following in terms of cost. Because cost is everything if you are serving to any client or if you are working for any of the infrastructure. Then you have to use the variables as a local cache, don't use the global ones. Avoid calling Lambda from Lambda. Optimize logging output and its retention. So in Lambda, whenever any of the logs is getting generated, it's stored in a log format, right? CloudWatch logs. So you can obviously define how much days you want the logs to be in. Let's say it is only required for a week. So don't make the retention for a year or for a month, because again it will be getting charged. So you have to be mindful to get the retention optimized, and then optimize the function configuration to reduce costs. Don't, you have to write code that is optimized. Don't make any unnecessary comments, or don't make any unnecessary function calling another function, Lambda calling another Lambda, Lambda calling another external call. So you have to be mindful for that. And so we have come to the end of our slide. In case anyone wants to ask question, this is the time.
Yeah, one question here.
Yeah.
So if you have to choose between reserved instances versus savings plan, what all factors will you consider?
Okay, good question. Good question. Anyone wants to answer this before I jump into this, by the understanding what you have from the track, or you already know? I'll be happy. Anyone? What do you think? Like, it can be subjective, it can be your personal choice. Actually was asking is what you have to keep in mind before selecting what you want to select from savings plan and serverless.
Reserved instances, basically. Reserved instances.
Reserved instance
instances
and saving plans. Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm. True, true, true.
So it's like
Fine.
savings is more over mostly for compute, all the compute in the account rather than just. Got it. Okay, okay.
Reserved are for EC2 instance, that he said correctly. Anyone wants to add up anything? Come on, it's not like I'm only giving the presentation and you have to listen. Your thoughts, what you think is also welcome. So please feel free. Can you take mic, please?
Based on my experience, ideally enterprise should take savings plan for a cost-effective way, and because we don't know how load is going to be tomorrow. So if we look for a reserved instance, definitely there will be burst out and the cost will be high. So that is what my understanding and my things.
So it is subjective, I could say, because there could be multiple kinds of clients that we are dealing. So depending what will be tailored to their requirement, we have to select the reserve type. If it is coming under reserve type section, if it is coming at savings, in it will be also depending on like what should be the ma'am. So it could also be depending upon what the load demands. If it is for a longer duration of time, it should be reserved instances. And if it is only for, he said containers and other stuff, so in that way we have to go to the savings plan.
Can I answer? Can I add one more point to this? Day in, day out, I'm doing this. Sorry, guys, to interrupt. Just answering to your question. Reserved instances are more for the time when you know that the instance is going to run for an entire commitment period. So you have commitment period for 1 year, you have commitment period for 3 years. Okay, so if you know that the instance is going to run definitely for 1 year, 24 hours, like 24/7, then you should go with reserved instances. But when you don't have an understanding whether the instance is going to run 24/7, are you going to move the instance times very frequently, like in containerized environments? When you know there are multiple changes which are planned across the organization with various accounts in place, then definitely you should go with savings plans instead of going with reserved instances. Just one point to notice, reserved instances are always comparatively less priceless. I mean, they are cheaper as compared to savings plan, but savings plans is all about flexibility. You don't have to monitor whether your instance is running 24/7 or not, whether your developers are going ahead with the same instance type for the entire year or not. So that is the thing you have to keep in mind whenever you are going for a purchase for savings plans versus reserved instances.
So the more flexibility, the lesser discount you will get. Anyone else? Or we are good to wrap up?
You have a client meeting, say after 6 months, and before that you had taken, say, DBR for X large. Any such instances you have taken for a period of 1 year, you've taken some 30% discount you would have got if you have taken for 1 year. And suppose at the end of the 6th month, you decide that you don't want to anyway go ahead with this, and I have taken the normal one, the normal RI one. Does this mean that I am losing up on the additional 6 months of savings? Because I am going to switch this instance anyway.
Right.
So what is the best possible scenario in this case?
So in that case, you have to first analyze what will be the next or forecasting demands required, traffic, like how it will be. So that's why like the first slide of mine will be you have to plan, you have to analyze.
Sorry for interrupting you. As I said, during the initial date of planning, it was already decided to go ahead with this. So after the 6-month valuation,
so you're converting, you're converting, right? So in that way, whatever 6 months you have done, you have utilized the RI completely, and then you thought, okay, that's not working for me. So you will be losing up on discount.
So is there any plan from AWS which allows me the flexibility to change?
Convertible
RIs.
Let
me answer.
That's what I was looking into.
So there are two types of RIs. One is convertible RIs and one are the standard RIs. If you are opting for a convertible RI, then you have the option that you can convert them to the other class. So your RI would be cancelled and you have to purchase a new RI. and whatever is the difference in the cost, then you have to pay for that. But a clause over there, not all the services are providing convertible RIs these days, okay? There are various services where convertible RIs are not available. To answer your question, although you have planned, discussed with your team and you purchase the RI and still you are not able to use that RI at some point of time, right? Then there is a marketplace where you can resell your RIs, okay? So there is an option where you can go and resell your RIs at a lower cost and somebody would be able to purchase that. So there is an option available, but most of the time when we work with customers, we say that you at least test it in your UAT environments first, that you are going to definitely use it for at least minimum 1 year, so that you don't lose out on the money that you are paying on an hourly basis. But again, there is an option to resell them.
Okay, thank you.
I could see a lot of interest around this one. We have a session called Bird of Feathers around cloud cost at 2:45. It will be great if everyone can join over there.
Sure. Still, if you have any question, you can reach out to me offline. Fine. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. I'm very much active over there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Varsha, for such an insightful session. Now, as a token of gratitude, let me invite Sanuj, our co-organizer, to gift Varsha a small token.